Welcome to Boxed 4.0, an all-special theatre edition. You know, when we started out and we presented the idea, we thought, let's just make it about dance with a focus on classical dance and accommodate contemporary dance submissions. But as the series got underway, we realized that we needed different aesthetic variety. After all, in India, performance also includes the idea of natya or theatre. And in India, theatre has always drawn from lyric, music and movement, going beyond text ever so often, both in the past and even today. So when we decided to do that, we knew we couldn't hold fast to our original rules, the age limit, 20 to 39, because it's one thing to be a smart, motor-mouth, stand-up comedian shooting off if you're in your 20s and 30s, but to create your own distinct vocabulary that braids your training with a sensibility takes time. It takes time like good filter coffee, drip by drip by drip, or a good pickle. It needs to marinate before one discovers and uncovers one's own physical embodiment that can braid all the other elements of theatre. When I started working, I found theatre to be the window through which I could then begin to think of a new way of performance making. So having come from classical dance, the very idea that a director sits around in a circle with the actors and begins by discussing the script was something very different from the hierarchical world of classical dance. So we reached out to 5 marvelous actors. One submits a self-deprecating gaze. The other looks to move beyond a shaft of light. And yet another turns the gaze of the camera. The fourth creates a very subtle way of looking at the heart of India's grief. And a fifth turns a popular Tamil film tune on its head. We are delighted to welcome the inimitable actor, stand-up comedian, director Karthik Kumar. Also from Adi Shakti, Nimmy Raphel and Vinay Kumar, who took time off from creating their own brand new work to send us their 2 solos. Ramanjit Kaur, a principal actor with Neelam Mansingh Chaudhary, in the midst of the terrible Kolkata cyclone, presented us this as she dives into the heart of India's shame. And Anitha Santhanam needs a context. She has referred a popular Tamil film song from a 1955 film called Thiruvilayadal. For those who are not familiar with the lyric or the film, I need to tell you that the lyrics that she has taken as a trigger are Pattum Nane, Bhavamum Nane. I am the song, I am the Abhinaya, the expression, as told by the character of Lord Shiva, played by well-known thespian Shivaji Ganeshan. So here, the actor, Anitha Santhanam in this case, takes Shivaji's posture. And from there she turns the lyrics on its head to express the conundrum of our current times. We welcome back our series consultant, Chitra Sundaram, who shares her expert comments at the end of this presentation. Chitra is Associate Lecturer, MA Performance Making and MA World Theatre at Goldsmiths College, University of London. Thank you, Chitra. And now we present Boxed 4.0.
I've had it. We aren't talking to each other. Getting on my nerves. Getting on each other's nerves, they may say, but getting on my nerves for sure. I am going to give the silent treatment. Well, we met during the lockdown, about 10 days into it, for the first time. She believed that she had been there all the time and I didn't notice. I was like, come on. I woke up to it just now. It's, hi, how are you doing? She wasn't so convinced that I had noticed at all. I hadn't, truly. And of course, it didn't take her long for her to let me know that she was always there, seen me through everything, withstood it all, put a roof over my head. Maybe sometimes we don't see those people who are really there for us all the time until maybe a lockdown comes in. So I decided to take a break. I'm not talking. I'm looking away. It's my space and my time, and I will not talk now. Lockdowns can be testing. But new friends you've made in this lockdown, and those that have apparently stood by you all this time, maybe it's time to shut that ego and make up. Alright, so here goes nothing. Hey Wall, how are you doing? I'll talk to you later. Oh, I just feel like you were just echoing my fears and I got a little scared, but yeah, I know you got my back.
Thank you for this platform, Anita. Unfortunately, last 2-3 weeks, my mind is not working the way I wanted, thinking about what is going to happen. So, creating a new piece is impossible. So, I choose to take a piece from one of our earlier plays. This is called Hare and the Tortoise, written and directed by Vinay. The opening piece of the play is the confinement of Hamlet. The state of mind of Hamlet is what, or boxed condition of Hamlet, and that's what we choreographed. Vinay choreographed it, and I performed it 16 years before.
देखे था एटा मोटा टोटर का रोटी ले गया मैगी का लिया का डंडा एनोला मुड़ के ना करेगा का नानी माँ जल्दी जल्दी खा लो बेटा जल्दी जल्दी खा लो एटा मोटा टोटर का रोटी ले खा लो बेटा not eating mama tummy aching not eating shh don't say that people are hungry बेटा to eat, then mouths to feed. Mouths go unfed behind locked granaries. People hungry. Mama, listen to me, Mama. Let's not play mousetrap today. Let's not even play name place animal thing, Mama. Let's play Antakshari, Mama. Mercy cow, Mama. मानी माँ बिकी था एटा मोटा टोटर का रोटी ले गया मैगी का लिया का डंडा एनोला मुड़ के ना करेगा का मुड़ के ना करेगा का
When I was asked to create a piece for the box series, the space that immediately came to my mind was the dining table. Especially during a lockdown period, a family bonds, eats and laughs together on the dining table. My little one is very fussy. She likes all of us to play games while having a meal. So I used all these inputs and I started improvising under the table. I created an imaginary world. While doing that and while doing different movements, the divide between the privileged and the less privileged class, the laborers walking for days, hungry, thirsty, started coming into the piece. And I used Dr. Neil Hall's poem, We All Have Blood on Our Hands, and a folk poem, Mani Ma Vekheta. And slowly this folk poem starts getting different layers in the piece.
Unboxed unboxed nane boxed nane unboxed nane kutadum unnai naan tindada vaitene boxed nane unboxed nane first tindatum இப்போ இன்னும் திண்டாட்டம் என்னம்மா என்னம்மா கலை நீயம்மா பல்கலை நீயம்மா ரசமுள்ள கலை நீயம்மா கலை நீயம்மா பல்கலை நீயம்மா ரசமுள்ள கலை நீயம்மா மன தன்னில் கற்பனை தன்னில் உருவாகி உளவோர்க்கு பொருள் கூறும் கலை நீயம்மா பல்கலை நீயம்மா ரசமுள்ள கலை நீயம்மா மனமுண்டு இனமுண்டு வழியுண்டு பயனுண்டு தீராத ஏக்கம் உண்டு மனமுண்டு இனமுண்டு வழியுண்டு பயனுண்டு தீராத ஏக்கம். ஸ்டாப். இந்த ஞானப்பழம் மேட்டர்லாம் ஓகே, ஆனா இப்ப ஒன்லி ஏக்கம். ஃபர்ஸ்ட் இஸ் ஒன்லி ஏக்கம். உங்களுக்கும் ஆடியன்ஸ்க்கும் அதே ஏக்கம் இருந்துச்சுன்னா நம்ம ரெண்டு பேரும் ஜாயிண்டா ஒரு இயக்கம் ஆரம்பிக்கலாம். ஆனா இப்ப ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஆக்ட் இஸ் ஒன்லி ஏக்கம். So for my piece, I've played around with songs from this movie Thiruvilayadal, in which God comes to test his devotees. So I've used a couple of songs in a completely different context, because while we are boxed, our imagination is unboxed, and we definitely are missing the box office. So yeah, so it's a play between boxed, unboxed, and the lack of a box office. I guess as an artist, we are not strange to the idea of wait. You wait for a movement, you wait for a thought, you wait for a blink of an eye so that it conveys a meaning. So I guess in this time, in this very strange time where the wait seems to be endless, I would like to fold this weight, this severe weight that one feels, and make it useful for the art that I practice. And I guess it's about persistence, and the piece was inspired by that, the weight.
Unfortunately, my mind is not working the way I want. So creating a new piece is impossible. No, not my words, but the words of Vinay Kumar, who you just saw. And it's a perfect reminder that we are working in some unusual, unprecedented times, and we should be cognizant of that fact as we look at these works and see what I can see in them. Greetings from London. I'm Chitra Sundaram, and I have to say I am chuffed to be working with artists today. Some of them I have worked with before closely and admire their work. Others, I'm just being introduced to them and their new work. I think it's also perfectly okay to not feel pressured to make art right now. And I suspect that in a few years or over a period of time when art makers have properly digested the current situation in all its guises, we will see creations and commentaries for sure. They will somehow reflect back to these times, consciously or not. But what will they look like? Will there be a shared pattern? It's interesting to ask. But to those who have already taken their dry spell and made it material for art, I thank you. I know it's probably just a placeholder for the time being, and that's still a creative effort and a fight enough to survive the now, or so I think. So what do we have here today before us? We had an estranged wall, a prince of darkness, a not so mad hatter's party, a box, no box, irony, and a relentless waiting. And through it all, there was no music really, nothing remotely pretty. There's ambient sound of a night breeze rustling some leaves. There's your heartbeat and the scratchy sounds of your own movement, a faintly piercing score, the cadence of your tormented soul. That's where we've been with these performance makers today. I love nursery rhymes in movies primarily because they typically turn scary. And Ramanjit Kaur uses a folk one here to great effect as the camera actually literally descends from a dining table that's laid out for two people, perfectly normal, and it goes to an other world below where the entertaining of an absent child with a picnic play set recalls so many images for us. War and bombing and hiding and Holocaust, or just movies where the monster or the assassin, perhaps even Gabbar Singh, would get you if you so much as made a sound. And so the concluding shh to the camera stuns us into silence. At least it did me. All of us who were peering under the table. It did make the virus come really alive, like a predatory presence. Now, talking to the camera can be very potent, and students of film and theatre forever explored what makes Robert De Niro's "You talking to me?" line from the film Taxi Driver so memorable. Interestingly though, De Niro doesn't ever look at the camera, ever, during the scene. Because he's not talking to you or me, nor is Karthik Kumar in his clever take. He makes a metaphorical, estranged lover or friend of the wall that's literally got his back. By the end though, I was wishing he would diss us all totally and turn away more fully to embrace her, not just caress her over the shoulder. And I say that only because her presence, the wall, has already been indicated to us with a very similar gesture. So it could do with a little more development, you know. I felt that it could accompany as the emotion shifts. Nevertheless, from the cuddling and the flirting, we know that the affair will have to continue. Anitha Santhanam also sings and speaks to us, but this time directly, twisting beloved songs from a hit movie, Thiruvilayadal. But the box is empty, she says, there being no box office these days. Because Anita performs in Tamil or Tamil, it is as if Anita is speaking in code only to those who know the scene that was mind-blowing in its time. Even today when I watch it, I feel the same. And the film actually smashed the box office. So it's a hard decision for an artist to decide whether or not to go hybrid in order to reach wider audiences. However, when the word, the spoken or sung word, or vachika, is virtually the only abhinaya vehicle being utilized, maybe that's worth considering. Meanwhile, those who don't understand Tamil should perhaps see it as a metaphor for the foreign codes of COVID in our real lives that we're trying to decipher. Now, out at night under a lonely lamppost. Oh, that's an alliterative phrase there. Nimmy Raphel uses the all too familiar palm front dance movements from all the dances in Kerala, which is supported by a very deeply stable mandala position. But this is destabilized again and then again by a casual stop, drink, pause, repeat pattern as she persists with the movement as if waiting for an epiphany, just by trying again and again, even slapping her thigh like a wrestler going in for one more round. It sort of felt like a comment on what we're doing these days, our soap, rinse, repeat, our routines, as we also work and wait for a breakthrough. In Vinay Kumar's Hamlet, or not, we see a thinking man struggling. I felt it was almost like a police interrogation, the bright lights inside his own head. And I found the extended foot pinned to the floor allowed 359 degrees of turn, because there was a unwinding, yes, again and again, uncertain of the answer. The piece is already a perfected one from a longer work. We know that, he said so. But it was performed and filmed again, 4-boxed. And it was ever so evocative, I thought, because we're all struggling today with some daily critical choices. To trust or to not trust, to obey or to not obey, to speak up or shut up. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed Box 4.0 as much as I did. Bye for now.
We thank our 5 actors who took time to create their own solo material for our idea of Boxed. Actors and dancers are all sharing the same questions. No physical space to meet, engage, discuss and share. At least not in the immediate future. But until then, we have this space and this. So thank you for watching. Join us next weekend for highlights, updates and some very exciting news. Until then, thank you for watching.